everyone, and welcome to Comment Section, where we constantly fall down that rabbit hole now. Some people may be wondering, because it feels like we almost got to do a recap almost. My God, it's been so long.
It's been
Where
wild.
did you go? Now,
I had my own side adventure. There's going to be a whole movie entailing all of my adventures in the last few weeks where we didn't have an episode of Comment Section.
If we want to talk about, we almost have like a universe, because this is the real universe, but whatever. We were actually doing, we have another show we do, which is called Unwanted Answers. Unlike what the show actually says, Yahoo Answers.
The show will lead you to believe it's called something else, but trust us when we say, here on a show that isn't that show, that it is not called what we called it.
It's not. See, people are wondering, how are you qualified to host this show if you don't get the name right?
We're not qualified for anything.
We're not even qualified for this show.
And then we just do things anyway.
See, we just decided to make it, and remember last time where we kept on wondering, are we the comment section or comment section?
We know that now.
Exactly.
It's comment section.
It's a good thing that I don't have a kid that I have to name, because it would go through this all the time.
Do I call them Kyle or the Kyle? I don't know.
Exactly. Now, I forgot to tell you this earlier, because, you know, what's better than some breaking, shocking thing right now? But I had an idea for a new section we could add to it, where we update our viewers about our stories that happened between when we went on a hiatus. So just a quick little rundown, and then if you have any thoughts about them. Alright, so here we got basically 7 updates. And remember, last episode we kind of ended on a cliffhanger.
Right.
Almost. So, alright, here we go. Number 1. Wonder Woman is a box office and, more importantly, a critical success for DC. This movie it looks like, I believe it's tracking to where it will outgross Man of Steel and Suicide Squad, and it looks like it probably will Batman vs. Superman, but which is really good for Wonder Woman, but if everything get close, I do think it will be the first one to get $1 billion. And let's see, DC says the future of the cinematic universe relies on what happens with Justice League, how it performs, which
was the prediction, right?
I believe I said that last time. And, we were talking about Frozen 2, but we're getting a Frozen 1.5. Before Pixar's movie Coco, there will be a 20-minute Frozen short premiering before it. You know how Pixar kind of has, those other ones. And Guy Ritchie's King Arthur bombs. Now, you may be wondering, what does it have to do with anything we said? Well, remember how we said no one's favorite Disney film was Sword in the Stone? I guess we were right.
Man.
Your favorite movie, Bigger, Fatter, Liar, is now available on Netflix.
That is my favorite movie.
Yes! Have you seen it on your Netflix?
No. I'm no longer subscribed to Netflix. It's nothing personal between me and Netflix. I just didn't want to spend $10 again.
Okay.
Maybe next month.
Maybe one day. But if you do, you're just like, I'll come back.
Now the Bigger, Fatter, Liar.
Get rid of Bigger, Fatter, Liar. No, yes, you want to see it so bad.
Now it's going to be
the hype is there. Although you could always just find your DVD of the first one and pop that in.
Yeah, I don't think I have a DVD of Big Fat Liar, to be perfectly honest, but I could probably, buy it. Don't pirate it.
Do not pirate
it. If you're going to pirate anything, it shouldn't be Big Fat Liar or Bigger, Fatter, Liar, because they deserve your money.
Yes.
For sure.
Well,
I don't know.
We won't say if they deserve it, but you should give it to them. We talked about X-Men Dark Phoenix being the next X-Men movie, and then we wanted this whole thing about Spider-Man. But, Marvel, same thing. It's announced that Simon Kinberg will be taking over, directing from Bryan Singer, and here we go. The big thing that we were wondering about at the end of that last episode. Now, to recap, at the end of last episode, it was announced that Manu Bennett would be returning to Arrow on Twitter as Deathstroke. So, but then Manu Bennett replied, WTF, and then there was this whole thing about it's his voice, and then it was unknown, and then in the trailer we see that it didn't show him, but you heard his voice, and he said that he didn't record it, it was just pre-recorded stuff. Well, it's a good thing we uploaded that episode when we did, because not only a full day later, mere hours after we uploaded that episode, we found out. So, the scene that we saw in the trailer where it was he walks in and you hear the voice?
Yeah.
So, I actually had it spoiled for me.
Darn.
But, so you watch it, and he goes, and it's basically what you see in the trailer. He goes, there's like a prison Oliver Queen has on a submarine, and he goes there, and he walks, and it's exactly like you see in the trailer, but then camera turns, and there he was. He actually came back.
Wow.
I was not expecting that at all. And the idea was that he did write later on his Instagram about how he wanted it to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, because Arrow's been suffering in ratings lately. Which, look, whatever we think about Season 5, which I really liked, Season 4, they earned those bad ratings. Although I do think after Season 5 is out on Netflix and people are able to kind of rewatch it because it didn't fall apart like last time, that the ratings will get better.
Yeah.
But I think they knew that the CW, because of Arrow's bad ratings, was going to promote Deathstroke. So this was kind of a way to kind of keep it a surprise versus the Steve Carell thing with The Office, which, if you want to hear us talk more about The Office, check out Unwanted Answers.
It's called Unwanted Answers.
Where
we go on a rabbit hole, coincidentally.
Nobody asked for us to talk about The Office, and yet we did.
Yep. For a good 10 to 20 minutes. I don't know how long
I know. I was literally going to ask you something about The Office, and now I'm forgetting it. Oh, wait, it just came back to me. We'll ask it later.
Well, all right. Stay tuned.
Remind me after we talk about Deathstroke. But yeah, I think he wanted it to be a surprise versus like when the Office finale, with the thing about Steve Carell is it's going to be done either way. So, I mean, of course the ratings matter, but it's not as vital if it's just going to be done.
Yeah.
Where they don't have to come back next week. And
right.
I also said, if he comes back to be a little superstitious, will this be the first good Arrow season finale since Season 2, which Season 1 was a good one. Season 2 was one of the best episodes of the whole series. 3, which I like Season 3 except for the last 5. They were really dragged out and it was horrible. 4 deserved to be canceled. Would Season 5 be the first good one?
Was it?
Superstitions are true. It was the first good one.
That's good to hear.
It was great. All of the CW universe shows, in DC, because I forget that's on Fox sometimes. But, they all did such a great job with their season finales. So, yeah, it was the first good one, and never thought I'd say that again after Season 4. I was done after Season 4, but here we go.
Sometimes surprises happen, and superstitions happen, apparently.
Yes, apparently. So, also, before we get started with the show...
Yeah.
Okay, this question to ask you, because literally when I was re-listening to the audio, I literally asked myself this, and I thought, should have thought of it then about The Office, which, as we discussed earlier, you can go.
All right, go check out Unwanted Answers. It's on iTunes.
I believe it's episode 2 where we talk about it.
Yeah, it's episode 2. So if you want
it's
more
titled The
information-
Robert California Hate Club.
Yep.
Which says something. Do you have a favorite episode of The Office, like a single favorite episode? Because I will say I do.
I do, and you know what's funny? I think I remember you posting about this on Facebook.
Oh.
And I have the same favorite episode, I think.
All right.
Okay. I think you said your favorite episode is the dinner party.
Yes.
That's my favorite episode.
Yes.
It took me a long time to decide, but I think my favorite thing about that episode is, it's just good all the way through.
Yes.
A lot of episodes of The Office, I feel like the side story I don't care about that much.
Yeah.
There isn't a side story in that episode.
No.
It's just back-to-back good quotes and funny moments through the whole 22 minutes or whatever.
Oh yeah, I remember. One of my favorite parts is when is Michael on that little TV.
Oh, that's my favorite line of the whole series is look at that, right into the wall. Sometimes we'll just stand here and watch TV for hours.
And then Jan Smash, $1,200. TV, good luck, pay me back on your $0 salary, your plus benefits, babe.
God, that's my favorite episode to quote.
And also her assistant Hunter, who also, as we learn, Robert California is the future Dark Knight. I mean, Robert California's son. It'd be really weird if Bruce Wayne somehow de-aged. Her assistant Hunter is Harvey Dent in Gotham.
Really?
Yes.
I guess I have to see Gotham.
It's amazing. I won't spoil the season finale because people could get mad. It's so amazing. Like, if that had been how the series had ended, you'd stand and applaud. But it's not. So, all right. So here we go. So I'll start with our first story of the day.
All right.
And it's not a fun story to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a lot of crap that happened since we went on hiatus.
So, let's see. I have my topics written down. So, that's not it. You know, those notes. Okay. So, recently, the Gotham City suffered a loss last week. I believe it was not last Friday, but the Friday. It was recently. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
We lost Adam West, who played Batman after in the 1960s TV show and in the 1966 movie after a short battle with leukemia at age 88, which that's a
good lifespan, but sad nonetheless.
Yes. I remember when Gotham, the finale aired the same week that he died. I remember the Thursday, it was before we knew he died. I remember the Thursday to celebrate another season of Gotham, which, wasn't supposed to ever happen.
Yeah.
But to celebrate, I said, I'm going to watch my two favorite TV Batmans, which are the animated series and the 60s Batman. But I think, a lot of people remember the 60s Batman for nostalgic reasons, but I think a lot of people forget how important that show is in saving Batman, because I don't know how much you know about the history of Batman pre-Tim Burton. Or pre-Nolan.
Not a perfect timeline.
So, okay, here we go. Little history lesson. We're not going to go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just
I'm actually... I'm wearing Batman's socks.
No way.
Wait. Am I? Yep. So there's a little a sneak peek that isn't visible because I can't bend that far, but...
So, here we go. So, as we know, 1939, Batman first appears in Detective Comics 27, created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, who finally gets credit that he deserves, Bill Finger. And he becomes the second biggest superhero after Superman. And Batman eventually has 2 movie serials made out of him. Now, do you know what a movie serial is?
Well, there's multiple. I can tell from the wording. And
it's okay if you don't.
It's ongoing.
Here, I'll tell you.
I don't know.
So,
I was just guessing.
It's almost like a season of a TV show in the movie theater, because it used to be like on Saturdays, I guess you could play like a nickel or something, or dime. And you could spend like all day at the movie theaters.
Like Nickelodeon.
Exactly.
That's what that word's from.
And they would show like old cartoons, and they'd have serials where it was almost like a 15 episodes miniseries of Batman, and they also had one for Superman, where you would watch like a 15-minute episode and it would always end on a cliffhanger, so you would go back to the theater the next week.
I guess I knew that was a thing. I guess I knew that, like, shorter form, like something that would be considered television now, we used to be played in that way. Yeah,
so it's funny how it kind of came back now with Netflix, because those Daredevil and all that is basically those serials, with a higher budget though. But so Voorhees Batman's big. He's the second biggest character after Superman. And then what kills superheroes? There's 2 things. One is, I guess the feeling was after World War II ended, there wasn't as much need of superheroes, because I guess a lot of people viewed Hitler as kind of like a cartoony super villain criminal, I guess.
He was pretty bad.
Yes, he was. And then it kind of switched over to we don't really need superheroes because we don't have like this big villain anymore. So people went to like horror comics and westerns.
Yeah.
So, and then what happened was there was this psychiatrist. I don't know if I ever told you about him. Dr. Frederick Wertham. Now, Just that name sounds like a comic book supervillain.
Yeah.
I can say all this because he's dead now. Dr. Frederick Wortham, who's one of these people who likes to blame the media for everything that's wrong in the world. We know those people and we don't like them. But anyway, so Dr. Frederick Wortham, we're not even calling him a doctor, he's a psychiatrist.
He's not a doctor.
He's not a doctor. And, no more of this doctor crap. Frederick Wortham published this book called Seduction of the Innocent, which tried to blame everything wrong with juveniles in the 1950s on superheroes.
Yeah.
On comic books. And superheroes especially, and the horror comics too. And he talked about how Superman was un-American and it made kids a fascist or something. And he just had all these examples that people listened to, and he was a witness at Congress about a testimony about kind of violence with juveniles. And what happened was it later led to the creation of the Comics Code Authority in the 1950s. So you couldn't be too violent. That code also killed horror comics.
I see.
So you couldn't be too violent, which, in the 1950s, there was a lot of sci-fi. So the Flash came, and that's what kind of brought superheroes back, was the Barry Allen the Flash in the 1950s that kind of brought superheroes back. So, but with that code, you couldn't be too violent, but it was fine for Superman, who you could do more sci-fi stories with, the Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman. But the character who suffered the most was Batman.
Right.
Because if you ever see those old books, it's basically like Tim Burton's Batman or the animated series of the Arkham games. He's the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And then because of this comic code, he had to be, the stories were about him going to outer space. And remember do you know who the Great Gazoo is on the Flintstones?
Oh.
He's that little green guy.
Yeah.
Batman had one of those called Batmite.
Oh my god.
You see, so Batman sales are awful because he's not the character he was when it started with Bill Finger and Bob Kane.
Right.
Also, so I don't forget, Dr. Frederick Wortham, not doctor, but Mr. Wortham, in 2010 his research became available about the book.
Yeah.
Turned out, all these examples he had, turns out he made them all up. So the whole book was fake.
Yeah.
So that was all for nothing. But, everyone's doing fine except for Batman, because Batman's really not really Batman anymore. Like, there's a horrible comic book cover. I mean, it's nicely drawn, but the idea is Batman standing on a roof with Robin, and the wind blows his cowl off. And it's like, my God, Robin, we must find that cowl, or people will know I'm Batman. This is real people. So Batman sales are awful. DC is planning on canceling Batman and just getting rid of the character. So he would have just been a character that we remember from World War II at a few movie serials. But at, I believe it was colleges, they would re-show those serials that we talked about. One was Batman from 1943. The other was Batman and Robin from 1949. And they'd show those in movie theaters, and someone at ABC was just like, hey, people like these old serials, so maybe it's time we bring Batman back. And so they talked to William Dozier about bringing Batman to TV. And William Dozier, the idea was to make it more of a comedy, which you gotta remember, it's the 60s, so I don't think, had you made a show like, the tone of Tim Burton's Batman or Nolan's Batman, I don't think it would survive.
Yeah.
I think it will probably have gotten pulled before, because parents were still like, oh my God, we must listen to Wortham!
Yeah.
So they had the show, which starred Adam West, and also a little trivia. I think I mentioned this before. Lyle Wagner played Steve Trevor on Wonder Woman, was kind of the second choice to play Batman.
Oh, yeah.
So, Batman premieres on ABC, which is struggling and becomes a big hit. And they say the 60s can be said with 3 Bs, Beatles, Bond, and Batman. And, it really is kind of like, we've had so many live-action superhero shows, but I think that's the most famous one, is Batman. That's the one you see people reference
for sure
all the time. And you gotta remember, when you look at Adam West's portrayal of Batman, you have to remember it's a comedy show too, so he has to look like he's playing it straight, but at the same time playing it comedically. Like,
yeah,
not to bash on a certain movie again, but they had comedic moments, or they tried to, in The Dark Knight Rises. Like, remember when Bruce is at that party with Miranda Tate, and they're talking about how, all this party just for people to feed their ego. And he's like, this is my party. Oh
yeah.
It didn't work. So that's one thing that Adam West really had. And we've had so many live-action Batman actors. I don't think any of those other ones could have worked in the show like West did.
Yeah, he did great.
Yeah, and also, he also voiced the character in the 1970s cartoon, The New Adventures of Batman, and he was Batman in the final 2 seasons of Super Friends. So, and I remember personally with Adam West, coming home, our elementary school, to pick a little bit of a bone, would let us out at 3:30. Remember that?
Yeah.
Now, TV Land used to air Batman at 3 and 3:30. And if you remember, the shows were always like split in two. It was basically an hour-long show. Yeah. So, young me would always have to miss the first half hour.
Crap.
So, I don't know. Have you ever actually seen the Adam West Batman?
I've seen bits of it. I haven't sat there.
You haven't seen a whole episode or the movie?
I might have seen like a whole episode, but if I did, it was a long time ago. Like I think I'm almost positive I've seen a couple full episodes as a kid.
The movie's on Netflix.
I didn't know that.
As
we discussed,
it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. Oh, you don't love Netflix. I remember you talking how much you love Netflix, and now gone.
Well, I mean, I've been using the YouTubes lately.
Oh, have you heard of that? I have. Yeah. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But so you don't really have a lot of memories. You don't have like these childhood memories of watching.
Really, my only childhood memories of Batman is the Tim Burton movies and comic books.
All right. Yeah. Did you watch the animated series?
That was one thing that was like I caught it if it was on TV as a kid, but I barely saw any of it because I had no grasp of like when things aired. As a kid, I just like turned on TV and watched stuff that was on.
See, my house, every day at whatever was on Fox or the WB, shows how old we are, the WB, it was on Batman, the animated series. And also, Adam West was on the animated series. And it's this great kind of love letter from one legendary Batman to the other about, how much that show means to him. And it's basically Bruce, someone's copying the show The Grey Ghost that Adam West's character was on, and Batman kind of turns to him for help because he would have known the episode.
Yeah.
And there's a great thing about how, Batman brings Grey Ghost to the Batcave, and there's like this little tribute to him. And he says to Grey Ghost about how I would watch you, my father, the Grey Ghost was my hero. And it's a great episode that if you want to see a tribute to Adam West and you kind of binge watched all the 60s show and the movie, go check that out. Also, man, there's a lot of stuff he was in. Also, he's the first Batman to have other superheroes cross over with him in live action. Because there's a show called The Green Hornet, which there was a crossover. And also, in the 1970s, Batman and Robin crossed over in kind of a Justice League special. It was basically a reunion to the 60s show called Legends of the Superheroes, where Batman and Robin would team up with The Flash and Green Lantern and Black Canary and Hawkman and all these other characters, everyone except for Superman and Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman was at CBS, and I believe this was on NBC, and Superman they were saving for the movie.
Yeah.
So there was that, and I rewatched it recently, and it's not the best, but Batman and Robin have the best moments, which, as they should be. But and also recently we've had it where it feels like the last few years, Batman 66 has kind of come back, has made a big comeback recently, and also he voiced the character in the new movie for the show's 50th anniversary of the show, and it was him, Burt Ward's Robin again, and Julie Newmar as Catwoman. So they were in that, but it feels like recently, I guess since 2014, it really has like come back. So at least like when we lost him, his Batman was still popular again. Like even Ben Affleck's son, Ben Affleck was talking about while he was filming the movie, his son was watching the old reruns. So I mean, I don't know how much you've or how much you remember about the 60s show, but we've had so many versions of Batman. We've had ones that are forgotten, like the serials, or it's pretty much forgotten. Remember the Batman from the 2000s?
Yeah, I remember hearing the name announced on
But it's
TV.
very rare that you have a version that keeps going and going. So I think we can safely say, because of all the love this 60s Batman has had, I think we can safely say that 60s Batman and the animated series are the two versions that will keep going on forever.
Yeah.
So what do you think, why do you think is it about those two versions that will make it keep going where some of the other versions are kind of forgotten?
Part of it can just be what ends up being considered a classic. I mean, probably a bigger audience probably saw and was able to then later get nostalgic about the 60s Batman, whereas, like, the serials were probably a little bit more closed group. Can't say for individual animated series why some of them didn't catch on.
The animated series. The Bruce Timm...
that one?
The one from the 90s.
The 90s, okay. I guess it's probably people like you who are nostalgic about it. Probably.
I think because there's something about those. I think it almost goes beyond nostalgia almost, because we've had it where the 60s Batman and that animated series keep going, but serials are forgotten, the Batman's basically forgotten. I think it's really come back recently where we've kind of gone back to, I think probably the Tim Burton Batman has also kind of had that comeback, but not as much as the other two.
Yeah.
Although, my personal opinion, it should. But I think that, look, let's be honest, the last few live-action Batmans have not really done it for a lot of people.
I think I might have another theory.
Yes.
That as superheroes and superhero movies have gotten more popular and more in the zeitgeist, maybe people have delved into very deep into the characters and franchises
like
more,
their history
and like the comic books and everything, and maybe they like the ones that are more accurate to the source material.
Yeah, I think because when you look, let's be honest, Dark Knight Rises, you take that suit away, he's not really Batman.
Yeah.
And, people have a problem with Batman versus Superman, the way he was portrayed. I will say this. I think it was a mistake to start with that movie. They should have had a solo Batman before. And also, we had the Joker in Suicide Squad, which not a lot of people really cared for. And it feels like those two versions, 60s Batman and the animated series, if, you get to a point where you see the Joker from Suicide Squad, you see Batman Dark Knight Rises, and it's like, can't you just do it the way it should be done?
Yeah.
Can't you just do it? And look, whatever you want to say about the tone of the 60s Batman show, one could argue is the most faithful live-action version of the character. Like, I think it's more faithful than the serials. I do think it's more faithful than the Christopher Nolan Batmans. I do think, we gotta wait for Affleck's.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, what do you have to say then about Heath Ledger's Joker? Because that is often considered by, I don't know exactly what group says this, but a lot of people think that's the best Joker.
Yeah.
A lot of people just like his acting in that particular one.
See, here's the thing about those first two Christopher Nolan, we won't count the third one. I like to think of them as separate.
Yeah.
I gave up on that movie. A few weeks ago, I said, you know what? It's been 5 years almost. I'm going to my grave hating that movie. If I want to see the same story, I can see... If I want to see Dark Knight Returns, which is what that story was based on, I can see Batman vs. Superman, which also, I remember in high school, I was telling you about the upcoming animated movies. You probably don't remember this, but I remember telling you that one of the ones they're doing is Dark Knight Returns, which is an animated version of Dark Knight Rises. And you said, why are they doing that? And later, after seeing Dark Knight Rises, I was like, he knew there was something wrong. So anyway, what were we going? Oh yeah, Heath Ledger's Joker. So the thing about those first two Nolan Batman movies is they're basically an origin story for those characters. Yeah. Where it doesn't feel Batman doesn't really become Batman until the end of the Dark Knight. It feels like Joker is still kind of becoming the Joker.
Yeah.
So that's why personally I like the first Tim Burton Batman more than the Dark Knight. Is that's like the Tim Burton's is the classic versus the Dark Knight. It's their origin story. I see what
you mean.
It also feels every time we have a reboot, it feels like the origin story keeps getting longer and longer and longer. And I really like the Heath Ledger Joker, except would it have been too much to paint his whole face.
I think they might have wanted it to look kind of ugly.
I don't care. Would it have been too much?
Yeah, you want it to look like the classic character.
I'm just saying, we only get a few Batman, and if we're lucky, we get like 3 or 4 Batman movies every 10 years.
Yeah.
Can't you just make it look right?
Yeah.
So I love the Heath Ledger Joker, but it's very different from, it's about him becoming.
Yeah.
That's what those two movies are about. It's basically their long origin story.
Do you know that do you think they would have done another Joker like the Dark Knight, right? Like the third Batman in the trilogy would be the Joker. I literally can't remember if the Joker dies in the Dark Knight. He doesn't. I didn't think so.
I've watched that movie so many times.
Do you think that I probably haven't seen it in a good 4 years or something?
Really? Yeah. The Dark Knight?
Yeah, I mean, I like it a lot, so I saw it a few years ago, but
you know what? When we're done with this, we'll ask about our favorite Batmans.
Yeah.
But yeah, where are we going? Oh, you don't remember? Yeah, they didn't kill the Joker.
All I was wondering is, do you know if they would have maybe done another Joker Batman?
From what I've heard in interviews, that was the plan. Was Joker was supposed to come back?
Yeah, I thought so, because maybe then they would have made him more developed and painted his whole face.
I can almost say I feel like it felt almost like, from what I heard, I don't know, because you hear sometimes people talk about it was just supposed to be a trilogy. I don't know. I feel like, from what I've heard, and this could have been said before the Dark Knight. This was said before the Dark Knight came out, so it could have changed. But I heard the original plan was it was going to be for Batman 2 and 3. It was going to be the Joker story, and then the third one, Harvey Dent became Two-Face. But obviously that changed.
Yeah.
But I think it was always a plan for Joker. He might not have been the main villain, but I don't know. Honestly, I almost think that series might have kept going had it not been for, the death of Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's what I was thinking. Maybe that would have been a more developed version of the Joker.
Yeah, because those movies, those first two are really just a long origin story.
Yeah.
But also, because this is a kind of a somber story, about how we lost Adam West. And also, I don't know if you know about this, but recently in LA they shined like a real bat signal in honor of him.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't think you'll ever have as much a tribute to a live action Batman as Adam West.
I think a lot of people probably do consider it like the start of Batman, even though it really wasn't.
Yeah.
But just the start of TV Batman, like live action Batman. Or
also the thing you gotta remember is, I was thinking about this recently. You might consider me a Batman fan.
Maybe.
A little bit.
Maybe.
So I rewatch Batman stuff all the time. So I see Michael Keaton, Kilmer, Clooney, first two Bales, Affleck, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. I see Adam West and Kevin Conroy all the time because of TV show.
Yeah.
So I think that helps it, because that's the thing, you see on TV, you see them all the time versus
it's technically more screen time.
Yeah.
So,
and also because this is sad thing. And because Adam West loves comedy. He really loved kind of the comedy in that show. There's like this great scene in the pilot, which, I rewatched that pilot. They did a really good job explaining the origin story without doing the origin story. Because unlike, Superman and all that, it starts with he's already Batman, but, it talk about, kind of in the dialogue about this is what he does because his parents were murdered and all that.
Yeah.
But there's this great scene in the pilot about where he walks into this nightclub and everyone's freaking out. It's like, Batman, Batman! And this one guy says, can I get you a table, Batman? And he goes, oh, no thanks, I'll just stand at the bar. I shouldn't wish to attract attention. But I came up with this list. Why Adam West's Batman is a legend. Comparing him to the other Batman, live-action Batman. We forgot the serials, but don't lie, you did too. So, comparing him to Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, and Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Also forgot the guy from Gotham. We're sorry. You're almost to Batman.
But here we go.
All right, here we go. 5 little things. Little comedy thing. Think about this. Michael Keaton and Christian Bale fought the Joker once, okay? Now, Ben Affleck apparently he's obviously met Joker more than once, but we don't know. Adam West, on the other hand, fought the Joker in 22 live-action episodes, 1 live-action movie, 7 animated appearances, and 1 fan film. So, in The Dark Knight, when Joker says, I think you and I are destined to do this forever,
that's case
Keaton and Bale should be happy that West took care of the Joker for those times for you. All right. In the movies, Batman has a grapple gun, which was actually created by the Tim Burton movie. The kind of...
Yeah.
Adam West Batman actually had to climb up those walls. And as we remember, there's in the movie, the cartoon that came out last year, there's this great scene about how Robin's talking about, like, oh, my legs are Batman. He's just like, that's just because you've been working on your biceps. And he's like, gosh, you're right, Batman. And, he would greet citizens, such as the Green Hornet, or the butler from the Addams Family, and Santa Claus. So,
of course. You gotta greet Santa Claus.
Of course. I mean, if there's anyone who should be on the nice list, there you go.
Yep.
All right, here... Movie Batmen wear black paint around their eyes. Adam West, he just had those little eye slits really, really small. So, there's probably a scene where Alfred said, Master Bruce, don't you think you're taking this bat thing a little too literally where you have to be blind as a bat? Alfred, I must be a bat! Holy poor vision, Batman! And here we go. Movie Batmen always come out at night. Adam West Batman had to come out during the day. Now, if you think that suit is hot at night, imagine that in the beating sun.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a scene in the 60s movie where Batman and Robin are running to get to the World Assembly Peace thing. And I'm just like, my God, that must be so hot in those suits. And also, save this for last because it's the best. It took Christian Bale almost a 3-hour movie to get rid of a bomb. Adam West did it in less than 2 minutes, and he didn't need that stupid autopilot. So, there we go.
That's compelling.
There it is. Farewell to a legend.
Ooh.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. West, from every Bat fan.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll always see you same bat time. We don't need the same... No, any bat time, any bat channel, thanks to the DVD, which took forever to come out.
Yeah.
do you know about that? About how the show was made by Fox, but the character's owned by Warner Brothers?
Yeah,
so it took
big
forever. I remember, when George Reeves' Superman came out, Linda Carl, Wonder Woman, I don't care, I want Batman! But it finally did come out.
Finally.
So, there we go. A long thing, but, the guy earned it. So, do you have a story to talk about?
The next news story?
Yes.
After our good and healthy Batman segment. All right, so I think this...
Whoa!
Oh, yeah.
I apologize.
I just remembered to.
What is your favorite Batman movie? I'm going to cheat. Oh, God. It changes all the time, so I'm going to say my top 2. The number 1 slot is 2 movies.
I'll probably also say the top 2 in 1 slot.
Okay.
Because I don't know.
Live action movies. We won't count the animated ones, if that makes it easier.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay,
have you seen any of the animated ones?
No.
I'll tell you this. You like those live action ones? I'm gonna be honest, those animated ones are so much better. I mean, but also it's because you had to introduce the origin, because you should have...
Yeah.
If you see Batman Mask of the Phantasm and you see Joker, you should have remembered him from Tim Burton's
movies
Batman.
love origin stories.
Yes, they do.
They love them. Okay.
There you go. Your number one Batman movie. Or, apparently, it...
I think, I kind of think I have two of them.
Alright.
Alright. Well, here's the thing, is right now I'm just like... There's one that I know probably sucked, but I just remember liking it as a kid. I don't know if that... Maybe that would be my second slot. I'll just give this as an honorable mention. As a kid, I remember liking Batman Forever, but I just don't remember it enough right now.
I watch that movie all the time.
And that's why, I'm right, that's the Two-Face one, right? Am I stupid?
Two-Face with Riddler.
Okay, that... Maybe I do have to put that as my tied spot.
One of my earliest memories ever, I mean, this is for real, is the scene where Batman and Alfred, he's got that really cool sonar suit, and then you see Robin come down the stairs, and it's the first time you see the dynamic duo.
Yeah.
This is probably my earliest live action Batman memory, is that one.
You know, I'm just gonna throw that in my tied slot because it coming back to me a little more, because now I remember that it's both the Riddler and Two-Face in that same one. It is all I watched those over and over again, just like the whole four.
Yes.
And
dude, I will be honest. I say those 4 Batman movies are the best movie marathon one could have. What is your favorite movie marathon of a film series?
Oh.
Well, we'll first answer your favorite Batman.
Okay, the other one's The Dark Knight.
Okay, so we have a similar thing, except one's different. It changes all the time, because when I watch it, I think it's my favorite. Now, in high school, it was The Dark Knight. But, I mean, opinions change, okay? I still love The Dark Knight. But my two ones that always change whenever I watch them is the first Tim Burton Batman and Batman Forever. Those are my two favorites.
All right, I almost said the first. The other one I was debating was the first Tim Burton Batman.
Yes, I feel like those two really say everything that I feel about Batman, about why it makes that character so great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those two, for me, are like... And that's the thing, is that I go through... There's so many people get hyped, are just like, why bother making another movie if it's not as good as The Dark Knight? I'm just like, hey... Will there be another movie as good as Batman or Batman Forever? Probably not. But I still love Batman Begins. I still love The Dark Knight. But So yeah, those are my two. I could watch those. You know what? I plan on watching those this weekend. So,
so there you go.
There you go. Although, ironically, my least favorite of the original 4 is Batman Returns. I know that a lot of people like that one. It's just...
Is that the second one?
Yeah, the one with Penguin and Catwoman.
I didn't care for that one that much either.
That's like the one, it feels like you gotta wait a half hour before Batman shows up.
Yeah.
It's always better than I remember, though. But still, it's my least favorite of those 4. Yeah. We're gonna get so much hate for that because I saw so many... Thursday, I believe, was the... No, it was... Monday was the 25th.
25th?
Yeah.
I thought it might have been 20th, but I'm stupid.
Oh, I will say, I think it's the best looking Batman movie. It has, I think, the best Batmobile, the best Batsuit. Second favorite is the sonar suit from Batman Forever, which, you know, the one he wears at the end.
Yeah.
All right, so, man, we've been going on a lot about Batman, but...
It's the Batman episode.
Yes, it is.
Everyone knows that.
Look, we owe Adam West. See, how we just talked about those, and we also talked about our favorite anime movies for me, Mask of the Phantasm, Under the Red Hood. Check them out. That's the one, remember when we were at band camp, I kept calling my mom, she asked.
Oh, yeah.
That was that one.
I remember that.
It's so amazing. And, boy, where were we going? Yes.
We were gonna...
Also, if we didn't have Adam West, this conversation we just had about favorite Batman movies never happens.
Yeah. This 45-minute Batman segment, well, maybe 35, I don't know how long we went before this. But it would never happen. What
is your favorite movie marathon to have a franchise? I say, without a doubt, the 1989-1997 Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher Batman series. Just because I think those ones really captured it, and it's kind of like if I have a checklist of Batman, everything goes off there.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite movie marathon, like a franchise of like a trilogy or something?
There aren't like a ton that I like marathon.
Do you ever?
The most recent thing I tried marathoning, but I fell asleep partway through the final one, is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
Oh, you know what? I would say that's probably my second favorite.
That and part of the reason I did it is because I'd only ever seen Spider-Man 2 once, and I was like, I don't remember it at all. I have to see it again.
Stop.
But now I've seen it twice.
And all this time, you've only seen Spider-Man 2 once?
Yeah. And now I've seen it twice.
Do you remember?
I had to marathon them to see it twice.
This you've only seen Spider-Man 2 once?
But, that's my problem.
But that's almost a lucky thing, though. Did you remember anything about it? Was it almost like a new movie for you?
It seriously was. Like, I had vague images of a bunch of fire and Doc Ock in, like, the fiery play. And that was, like, I remember that scene. But that was, like...
But how much have you watched the first and third?
I had probably seen the third one, like, 2 times and now a third time.
Oh my god.
So I'd actually seen that one that is famously bad more. But the first one I'd probably seen like 5 or 6 times.
In your life?
Is that very low? I don't see movies... that's one of the higher movies to me.
I need to tell you something. Well, I just said, I watch those Batman movies 3 or 4 times a year.
I know, but I don't rewatch movies that often.
I plan on rewatching all 5 of the Spider-Man movie. Also, look, this is the rabbit hole.
This show is more about the rabbit hole than it is the news. We know that. But I also have a rabbit hole, and I don't know if it's the same one.
I was going to say, what's your favorite Spider-Man movie of the 5?
Have we talked about this on the YouTube video? I don't know.
No,
there's a lot of Spider-Man. But
what's your favorite? Oh, wait, before I forget, have you ever seen the extended Spider-Man 2? Do you have it on Blu-ray?
I don't. I probably didn't. It was probably the regular.
So you just have the DVD?
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't Blu-ray. So I don't know when they released the extended version. Is it just on the Blu-ray?
It was on DVD, but I don't think they make the DVD. But if you buy the number 2, I point because it's over there.
Yeah.
If you buy number 2 by itself or in the box set, it comes with both of them.
Yeah.
Which would be nice if they did that with Star Wars, but whatever.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I can get into this later because I have news that will bring it up again, actually. I'm just going to answer the question, favorite marathon movie? I have to say the only movies I've marathoned, like, more than once... and I like never make it all the way through, but the most one is probably that sometimes there will be actual get-togethers with people I know to marathon the Lord of the Rings movies, which is like a day-long excursion.
I heard it's a long one.
Yeah, because also if you do the extended ones, it's like, I mean, it's going to be like a good 10 hours or so. But and then the question is, do you add the Hobbits to it? And
have you seen? I know you're a big Lord of the Rings. Have you seen the Hobbits?
This is something like.
Boy, we are really going deep in here.
It's the rabbit hole, but this is something that I don't know a lot of snobby Lord of the Rings fans, but I feel like most of them would say they don't like the Hobbit films for the most part. I think that the second Hobbit film, The Desolation of Smaug, is like borderline my favorite of all the Lord of the Rings movies. It's amazing to me. The first and third are kind of eh.
Did you hear about what the original plan was?
No.
It was going to be 2 movies, but then they broke it. They broke up the second into 2 and 3.
Oh, yeah, because those go directly into each other. I just thought that the whole last part of the second one was so dramatic and built up the drama of Smaug about to destroy a city so well, and then the third one didn't quite live up to that to me. It was so, but the third one is the first one's the worst one to me, and I think most people would agree with that. But that second one is amazing to me. But
So we have Lord of the Rings. Is there another one?
I think one. It's not even like something I even consider myself a huge fan of, but just something that is just a good, feel-good, like, just having fun watching it, is the Harry Potter series, where it's not even like I day-to-day think of myself as this huge Harry Potter fan, but I have binge-watched, like, all of them before, and it's just, like, it's not as dry as, like, The Lord of the Rings. Like, it's just, like, a lot more like a fun blockbuster kind of film thing. Like,
speaking of blockbuster Harry Potter, those were the last movies I ever rented from Blockbuster. Because I remember, what was it? It was 2011. I remember the last Harry Potter movie, they had the little teaser for The Dark Knight Rises, which, as we've said many times, I hate that movie so much. The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
I'll still stand by. Some of the best trailers ever made are from that movie.
Really?
Especially, I applaud. They make that movie look so good. I swear to you, I bought the DVD because I rewatched those trailers. Like, I questioned myself. I'm just, oh my, that's so good. And then they had a new trailer for DVD. I'm just like, I'll get it. And I watched it. I'm just like, this is somehow worse than I remember. But I remember it did win awards for those trailers, and I still say, some of the best marketing campaign I've ever seen. Better than Batman vs. Superman. I mean, I don't know how they did it.
They somehow worked this garbage into... Nah, I'm just kidding.
It's so... Anyway, we could talk about...
Yeah.
That's probably the nicest thing, is those... I still rewatch those trailers sometimes because they're so good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I decided to start watching the Harry Potter movies because they were done. So
yeah.
I thought,
why
not watch them when I can at least see one in theaters?
Yeah.
I still need to... I actually do have the box set, but I haven't watched it yet. I've only been through them once, but
yeah.
I liked them. But before we kept on going down these rabbit holes, so Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter for you?
The only other one that I have just gone through as a marathon is the Star Wars series, and that's a different ordeal because, of course, when
you say Star Wars series,
I do mean the whole.
Do you
thing.
mean the trilogy? Okay.
I do mean the whole thing because I like going through the prequels as kind of a goof and a
Here
laugh.
we go.
They're enjoyably bad.
Here's the thing. Okay. What are your thoughts on the prequel? I think you just said them.
I basically just said them, but
yes. I gotta be honest. I'm not a diehard Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
I don't know how you are.
I really kind of didn't like Star Wars until it came back, and now I do.
You know what? That's the same thing. I remember.
Now I'm a big Star Wars fan.
I remember I watched the original trilogy, and I liked them. I mean, I'm not a diehard, like how some people have Star Wars. I have like Batman and DC and Marvel. But, and then I saw I didn't want to see the prequels at first, because I looked at them and I just like, who cares?
Yeah.
But then I rewatched them and I just like, I like Revenge of the Sith, but that's...
I mean, I think almost every Star Wars fan who doesn't like the prequels would say that one's the best one.
Yeah.
Like, that's clearly the best prequel.
Although it debates between 1 and 2. I think Attack of the Clones is more interesting because I like the Obi-Wan stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because...
he's almost like a detective.
The thing about Attack of the Clones is that is the worst dialogue, basically, is in that movie.
I hate the sand.
Yeah, just like, I don't like sand.
I didn't catch that until I saw people talk about that face on.
Yeah, no.
What does this say? I hate this sand. It's everywhere.
I'm fully in the prequel memes community, so I enjoy now. I think a lot of people have started to now unironically like the prequels because they've watched them so many times as a joke, and now they just like them. But
yeah,
I haven't gotten there yet, and I do think that there's tiny redeeming factors of the first one that make it better than the second one to me, like the Darth Maul fights and pod racing. And
I don't like the pod racing, to be honest.
I was mostly I liked it as a kid because I thought it was cool.
I'll just say this before we keep going on the prequels. So I liked the original trilogy, and then after it ended in 2005, I think. From 2005 to whenever that last trailer for Force Awakens came out, I wasn't really a Star Wars fan because I would try starting with Phantom Menace, and I'd just be like, I don't care.
Yeah. No, there's actually there's this kind of agreed upon order that you should actually watch it in called
I've
the
heard
Machete
about
order.
them.
I haven't watched in that order yet, but it's interesting to me, and
Like
I feel
it's
like
a
I
flashback?
should. Gosh, they give it to you in the order that the surprises are the best.
Yeah.
Basically, I think that's what it is.
I would say if someone's watching Star Wars, and also for X-Men, I think you should, first time, you should watch them release order.
Yeah. I think the reason why they some people, I don't know, invented the Machete order is like if you're introducing someone to it and they don't know anything, it leaves the reveal of Darth Vader being Luke's father, which now I just spoiled.
Look, I don't know how, even as someone who didn't watch Star Wars until age 9, I knew about that from Toy Story. From Toy Story 2.
I even think in that marathon order, I think you skip one of them. I don't know if it's one or two.
You skip Phantom Menace.
Yeah, you skip because it's not necessary to the plot.
I don't even know if Phantom Menace really needed to be made. I felt like Phantom Menace is really only 5 minutes that you could have done at the beginning. But I heard some people actually argue against that because going back, I heard it's supposed to be like Harry Potter, where if you watch them, it starts more kid friendly and then it gets more mature.
The first one has pod racing and
everyone's
Jar Jar
favorite
Binks,
Jar Jar,
and the third one has has Anakin being burned alive brutally.
Yes.
So
Misa need help.
He had the low ground.
Mr. Hopper.
Beautiful.
Mr. Hopper to be brought up again.
Everyone stopped listening at this point because we've shared controversial opinions on the Batman series, the Star Wars series,
yes, if we
Lord of the Rings
didn't get hate already from hating, I don't know how you feel about Dark Knight Rises. Well, you said you think it's okay.
I just don't. I just haven't been able to form enough of an opinion yet.
You know what? Screw it. I say Batman Begins, Dark Knight. Batman 3 will always be Batman versus Superman. 3-hour version.
That's three.
I mean, it makes more sense to have that be the sequel than the other one.
Yeah.
But boy, where are we going?
I mean, we're almost at the hour mark.
I know. Also, wait, before this did not go as planned, but you know what? That's one of the best parts about something like this. But okay, before we go, I asked this. I wanted to ask this earlier because we talked about also Spider-Man movies. Okay. Also, another marathon I have is the Superman movies, the Christopher Reeve ones, Skipper Superman Returns. So the Superman movies and also the Toy Story trilogy.
Yeah.
Plus, that Halloween special is really good. You can skip that Christmas one, which isn't really Christmas. But have you seen that Christmas one? Don't do it. It sucks. Have you seen the Halloween one?
No.
It's for one night. My childhood dreams of a Toy Story TV show became real, and I got one episode. But also, so do you have a favorite? We talked about our favorite Batman movies. Yeah. Do you have a favorite? Also, I don't know if you've seen Superman. Superman 2 is my favorite Superman. Do you have a favorite Spider-Man movie?
Okay,
we won't count Civil War since you haven't seen it.
Let's transition this question right into my news because we'll just do. This will be. I guess we'll have to do. This is the second and last news segment of this episode.
I did not look. Hey, you guys knew what you were getting yourselves into.
I mean, you'll see. Well, let's just start this news segment, and it will lead back to this.
Yes,
I promise, because my prepared news segments for this episode, but turning out to just be one, are basically.
Don't spoil another one you could have used, because who knows?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to. I'm not going. But this is old news a bit because it's a little old, but because my news is from a little bit ago from recording this. Okay. They held the E3 conference.
Yes.
Which is the conference where they announce everything video games and technology. And basically, there's two things that I listed as my, for my news, I basically listed these two as my most excited for, ready to look out for games coming up. In this case, both out 2018, I believe. And the first one, and both of them actually, I'm excited for because they're a bit of callbacks to my memories of the PlayStation 2. The first one being a direct remake of one of my favorite games, maybe of all time, but definitely one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 2. A full remake from the ground up of a game called Shadow of the Colossus. And that, it was a dream. I've been waiting for this to happen for so long because I never.
It's a remake. They're not just putting it on a new disc.
Yeah, they're not even just remastering. They already did that on the PlayStation 3. They did just put it on a new disc. And this isn't even a remaster where they're just upping the quality and stuff. It's a full-on remake, all new gears and gadgets used to make this thing, and it's going to be on the PS4 in 2018. My other most excited for game, this I also believe 2018, is a game reminiscent of another PlayStation 2 game that I loved, the Spider-Man for PS2 game, and there's going to be a new one, believe it's, if I'm not wrong, basically in that exact same style, called Marvel Spider-Man, coming out in 2018.
The one where he has the white emblem?
Yep.
Which they say they're going to explain how he has that white emblem.
Yep. And, that is...
Could it be Venom? Oh!
And that's how this brings us back, because boy, does it not look fun to see Spider-Man in these fancy, schmancy new graphics swinging around.
Yeah, I heard there was a big deal because Activision, who did, that Spider-Man game, a bunch of others, kind of lost the contract. Because remember, Marvel was going bankrupt in the 90s because they did such stupid things as, hey, remember Peter Parker from 30 Years? Imposter. He's a clone! That clone story that went on forever. So Marvel was going bankrupt, and then that's why it took forever to have Spider-Man. X-Men is gone from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I heard that it was a big deal because Disney, I heard, doesn't like doing the regular games and more into the mobile apps.
Yeah.
So I heard there's a big deal, but...
Yeah, it's pretty cool that it's happening. It's been a long time. I don't know the exact year that came out. Probably 2002, probably around the time
the movie? I mean, the movie game.
The game.
The movie.
The game. The movie.
Movie. It's so good.
But yeah, like around 15 years-ish. It's pretty awesome. And so, on the topic of Spider-Man then, there's actually... First, your question, and then I actually had a follow-up because I don't know if we exactly talked about it, but favorite Spider-Man movie? Is this just across all Spider-Man live-action movies?
You haven't seen... Well, there's not an animated one, unfortunately, but we won't count Civil War.
I was just being overly specific, but yeah.
We won't count Civil War.
So, Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I think I gotta go with Spider-Man 1.
Okay, so do you have a reason?
The podcast. No reason. We're cutting the podcast. It's over. No.
Drop that. Don't drop this mic. Drop another one. This is a nice
It's close between 1 and 2. Again, we talked about at length that we both really also like the Amazing Spider-Man movies. But
I like the trilogy more just because, once again, like we were talking about with Batman, where with the Burton Schumacher movies versus the two Nolan movies. You hear that, kids?
It's official now.
That there's a checklist for those Batmans versus with the Spider-Man trilogy, checklist, origin check, Dr. Octopus, the Venom story, check. Only thing we didn't get was the Lizard. Although, the MTV Spider-Man cartoon is kind of in the same universe, so there's that.
Yeah. It's close between I guess I really like that origin story, and I like the Green Goblin. I don't know. I guess
funny.
That's just what I like.
I think that overall, I like the first Amazing Spider-Man more than the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, but I think the origin was done better in the first Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, I think it's the origin that I'm remembering liking so much.
It feels like that one, to talk about like Wonder Woman again, it feels like that one was the iconic version where they tried to make it, versus you just had that Sam Raimi Spider-Man, so you had to make it feel different,
Yeah.
Which is, I still wish he'd been paid on the wrist instead of the neck.
Yeah.
That was so weird. Like, if Peter Parker's a nerd, if you find dead, you're puking in that thing. Oh my god! How long has it been there? This is why he was bullied in high school. He had bugs everywhere.
Yeah.
And May, the bed bugs are back. So it's a toss up between those two for you.
Yeah, I don't know.
So my favorite. So once again, because opinions change. When it first came out, The Amazing Spider-Man was my favorite, but opinions change, and I'd say Spider-Man 2 is my favorite. The Sam Raimi one, just because you got Batman versus the Joker. This one is Spider-Man versus Doc Ock. I mean,
yeah,
Doc Ock's my favorite Spider-Man villain, so you can't get much better than that.
Yeah,
I was so mad. I still look back so mad that we never got Andrew Garfield versus Dr. Octopus.
That would have been awesome.
He did get his tentacles, so I guess eventually he will fight him, but we'll never see that unless they do a comic. But yeah,
I guess that brings me to the thing.
Oh wait, before we get no, we answered this. I was gonna say, what are your thoughts on Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3? I like both those movies.
Well, that's what my question. My question was because we talked about the Star Wars prequels. How do you feel about Spider-Man 3? Because that's a. I'm
gonna say this.
Movie.
You might get mad.
All right.
My ranking of the Spider-Man trilogy: 2, 3, 1.
2, 3, 1.
I love Spider-Man 3, and I don't care what anyone says. People are just like, he dances. It's one scene, okay?
Yeah, no,
It's one scene, okay? Did you want Peter Parker to go smacking people around? Or?
That's actually what I don't think I hate Spider-Man 3 that much, but there are first of all, I really do think that whole emo dancing scene and him talking to the landlord and stuff is seriously prequel level hilariously bad dialogue. But that's like you said, it's the one scene.
I mean, look, I'm gonna say this. People are gonna get upset. People want to talk about corny humor in Spider-Man 3. Guys, remember Iron Man 2 where he's eating the donut? I love the Marvel saying that. I don't really like Iron Man 2.
Now dig on this.
Oh yeah.
I'll pay your rent when you fix this damn door.
But here's the thing. That also kind of keeps with his character versus he even when I almost feel you're almost helping me like Spider-Man 3 more by saying this because it shows that Peter Parker, even with that Venom suit on, is still a good person versus when Brock gets it. It just brings out how bad he is.
Yeah. No, but this is when I was kind of looking into why exactly do people hate Spider-Man 3 so much, because I don't hate it that much.
I'll say in all the Spider-Man movies, to rank all five. We won't count Civil War because he hasn't seen it, and also it's too difficult because it's a little bit I like it, but Spider-Man's got to share it with other people. Yeah, so that's also why I don't rank Batman vs Superman in my top 5. It's just he's got to share it. That's not fair, but we still love it. My ranking is Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man, and then Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I see. Well, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I was going to say okay, so because I need other people's opinions to have opinions.
Do you?
No, I'm just kidding. But I was looking into some critiques of Spider-Man 3, and one thing a lot of people said was that it seemed kind of badly done and kind of ruined a lot of the emotional development in Spider-Man 1. That they sort of just kind of made it so Sandman was the one who killed Spider-Man's uncle. When I read that, I was like, I kind of see that. It kind of seems weird.
I get it because it helps with that suit, because I think probably they were inspired by the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, where, for those of you who don't know, the original Ultimate Spider-Man is kind of a reboot of the Spider-Man that started with Stan Lee. And it's its own universe, so You start in 2000, and it has nothing to do with those. But it's basically a retelling of those.
Yeah.
And in that Venom story, he sees a guy who, I guess, reminds him of Uncle Ben's killer, so that's what kind of makes him almost kill the guy. But so where we go? Oh, yes, flip that.
Yeah, that's just a popular critique that I kind of agreed with, and there's just other little things
Although,
like that.
I'll say this. I felt like it did help, because what we were talking about, how even in the black suit, he still is a good person, but yet having his uncle's killer still out there with that black suit. If he didn't have the black suit, I would have said, why do that? But because he has that black suit, you kind of can see how he would get more angry and violent. And I remember rewatching it, and I remember thinking, wow, does that really undo that great power, great responsibility? But had he stopped Dennis Carradine, as we know as the burglar,
Yeah.
because I've watched that movie and trailer so many times, if he had stopped Dennis Carradine, Dennis Carradine, is that his name or is that an actor's name?
I don't know.
We'll say burglar or robber. Had he stopped that robber, he wouldn't have shocked Sandman into shooting Uncle Ben.
Oh yeah.
So it still is that thing.
I think what I read,
Because it sounds like Uncle Ben kind of was talking him out, talking Sandman out of doing what he was going to do.
Yeah, that's what it was. I think a lot of people just didn't like that because like there was so much emotional development and the whole concept of what happened was ingrained into you in the first one, and they just kind of ripped all that away in the third one. That's just one critique. I would still probably say that is probably my least favorite Spider-Man movie of them.
Of the 5 or the trilogy?
Of the 5.
Okay.
But I still don't hate it. It's just kind of tiny little things to nitpick at.
I don't want to jinx this, Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't have a Spider-Man Dark Knight Rises or a Spider-Man Superman Returns. Well, I'm just like, why does this even exist?
Yeah.
But, we're talking about... A lot of people were disappointed. We talked about this earlier with Venom, but a lot of people were disappointed about, how short time Venom had.
Yeah.
But I almost feel it's almost like a trilogy is almost like 10 seasons of television. You should make sure you wrap it up just in case. You don't know what's going to happen. And it turned out it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same...
Venom's so cool, though, that I just want him to have a movie.
Have you seen the 90s cartoon?
Not enough of it. Wait, okay. I did forget to mention this, is I did start watching that show you recommended.
Okay, before we get into that, a lot of people are disappointed. I was disappointed, but I'm just like, okay, thank God that happened because of Spider-Man. Spider-Man 4 never happened. I find it interesting. People are mad about Venom, but aren't mad about Two-Face at the end of Dark Knight. Because I felt ripped off, but
both of those are my favorite. Like, I think my favorite Spider-Man villain is Venom, and my favorite Batman villain is Two-Face.
And also... but also looking back, thank God, because we don't want to count Dark Knight Rises, so Dark Knight kind of wrapped it up, and then also you can watch Batman vs. Superman. It doesn't contradict, it adds to it. But, so you saw Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think just 2 episodes, but I just kind of, it was good. So
yes.
it was like a couple weeks ago. I don't know why I haven't continued, but I probably will.
Speaking of which, if you guys have not seen Spectacular Spider-Man, I love the movies, but for me, the 90s cartoon Spectacular Spider-Man are my favorite versions of the characters.
Yeah.
Have you seen... Do you remember the 90s cartoon?
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. I don't... I don't think I've really watched it.
They have it on They don't have it on DVD for some stupid reason.
Stupid.
They have the whole 90s Iron Man, but they can't put out Spider-Man. But they do have it on iTunes. But they, man. Talking about the 90s... Oh, yeah. Venom was in there, and that was really good. And also Venom's in Spectacular Spider-Man.
I like Venom.
Yeah. Don't see Ultimate Spider-Man.
Alright.
Don't do it. Please, people.
I guess I'll take your word for it.
I'm trying to say...
Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
I was so hyped. It's interesting because... 2012, that was such a mixed year. I had Dark Knight Rises, I had Ultimate Spider-Man. You don't know what that's like.
That was tough for
that can kill a person's hope.
Critic like yourself.
I know.
Oh man.
So, what else were you gonna say?
I mean, I think we did a good half of this long-running podcast on Batman and another good half on Spider-Man. I think
interesting because I also have a Spider-Man topic to bring up for next week.
Well, this is going to be a Spider-Man podcast now.
I guess we could.
But yeah,
I mean, do we want that Spider-Man topic to wrap it up, or do we want to save it for next week?
You know, I think that this is probably a good space to wrap this one up. It's running long. Yeah. So, to recap, favorite Batman movie for him, Dark Knight and Batman Forever. Yep.
For me, Tim Burton Batman and Batman Forever. For you, first two Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. For me, Spider-Man 2. Yep. You also like Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yep. And that's the official opinions now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. You know what? People are going to be like, how can you like it? You know what? You can argue with someone, and yet the real winners are the people who like it.
Their opinions.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, you said that, but you talked a lot about not liking The Dark Knight Rises. So
I don't like it. I'm not going to change.
Would you say that the real winners are the people who like it?
Yes, I would. Do you know how many times I've rewatched that movie? It literally came to me. The one I rewatched because I think it's stupid not to include those first two Nolan Batman movies in the DC movie universe.
Yeah.
I feel like that Rises movie was only made just so that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So I tried rewatching it. And I'm just like, you know what? 5 years later, I hate this more in 2017
every single day
than I did in 2012. I swear to you, there's a scene. I keep thinking, but oh god,
it's haunting you.
Remember that scene where Bruce is with the cane, and you get that horrible scene where Anne Hathaway does that horrible oops, I didn't know you were here, Mr. Wayne. And Bruce is just like, this safe is supposed to be uncrackable. But somehow she cracked it, so I guess they lied to him. And then she's like, you wouldn't hit a woman any more than I would hit a cripple. And then he just stares at her, and she knocks the cane over. This guy who took down a SWAT team, he gets his cane knocked out from under him. And then Selena does all this stuff. She jumps out the window, and he just lies there like, she said she went to it, but I guess she really did it. He's just lying there like, is this really happening to me?
Oh, gosh.
And let's never forget, I'd set you up with a chimpanzee and brought you back to the world.
Oh, my God.
Also, let's never forget, remember that clean slate? Where Selena's just like, where's the clean slate? You mean that thing when you type in someone's date of birth? And a few seconds later, they're gone from every face up, from every internet database on the internet? It sounded a little too good to be true. But suddenly, Bruce, for some reason, he decided to wait until the last 12 hours to come back to Gotham when that bomb goes off. And then he's just like, hey, remember that thing? Here it is. I swear to you, I thought we were going to find out at the end it was just a flash drive. Like, they're all happy at the end when he runs away to Italy.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why there's not a sequel. It's just like, this is just a flash drive, Bruce. Well, I'm not the world's greatest detective, guys. That was Keaton.
Yeah.
And if Bale's Batman had to go against the Riddler, they'd all die. But there it is.
We'll probably remind you every episode from now on how much about our feelings on that movie and every other movie.
Yes.
So remember to catch up. There's 2 episodes of comment section before this. There will be future ones.
2 episodes of Unwanted Answers too.
Yep.
Even though we call it Yahoo, we were wrong.
Yeah, it's called Unwanted Answers, and you can find it on iTunes.
Yes.
So, that
really wraps it up. Wow.
And now, we always say that this show is about going down that rabbit hole.
Yes, so, keep falling down that rabbit hole.
And this show is the perfect example.
We just did 1 story. No, we did 2.
We did 2 stories, and the rest is all rabbit hole.
Yes.
It's the perfect exemplary I can't say
I don't know how this happened. There was a time where we thought we were going to have 20 stories in each episode.
Yeah, we didn't think we could fill the episodes enough, but apparently we just need... If you wanted a good, healthy dose of news, you didn't really get it.
You'll get it next week, we promise.
Yep.
We'll try to speed things up.
We'll try. And...
No, we won't.
Keep falling down that rabbit hole.
Exactly.
Peace.